What's up? What's up? So Morgans is back in the story. So is Vivi. We got a lot to talk about with chapter 1074. So let's get right into it. So first of all, we celebrate W's over here. So really quickly, shout outs to me. You know what I'm saying? I got that right about Vegapunk. I know we were trying to figure it out. I'm glad I was able to clarify it for some people because it kind of seemed like Vegapunk was, not with the Straw Hat, so that's why we were like, oh, okay, Vegapunk's missing. He's just with Bonnie somewhere. But from what I was understanding, I was like, the narrator box is saying that Vegapunk is missing, and we're reading it. So that must mean that the story is trying to tell us that Vegapunk is now missing. And then we get a clarification from Shaka. But I don't want to just jump all over the place, so I will start from the top. I talked a little bit about the cover story last week. Cover story this week, so it definitely clarified a little bit more for me too. I had ideas that the other three were kind of upset with Vegapunk because they thought they were creating weapons, but it was actually that they were just upset that Vegapunk was the one who won the prize and neither of them did. So now they're in this cover story, they're just fighting over who's going to be the second best scientist in the world. And so I'm guessing maybe this is why Judge and Caesar are fighting when we see them, because maybe this has just been the battle that's been going on between the three of them ever since Vegapunk won that prize. But we'll find out more, I guess, next week. But anyways, getting into the story, we find out that there are actually more advanced versions of the pacifistas. Some of them that could do some pretty crazy abilities. At first, I thought it was something like Kuma's. Then I was like, that's not Kuma's ability at all. It was like some type of defense. It was like they were saying that's the ultimate defense created by Vegapunk. Or they were probably just talking about the pacifistas in general. Either way, the ability that the pacifista showed, it was like some kind of bubble shield, and it can be manipulated. So I definitely want to see a little bit more of what other abilities these pacifistas can do. But as far as what's going on with the government, the CP0 agents looks like they're going to probably get wiped out by these pacifistas. I was talking about this. I think I might have said that I think that the arc is going to be relatively short, but now that we're trapped in the Labo phase and we don't know where Vegapunk is, with Kizaru and now one of the Gorosei on the way, who knows how long this arc is going to be. We've got a bunch of stuff happening with Garp, Blackbeard, Law. We know Kid is in Elbaf. There's a lot going on. There was a panel where we finally got all of the Straw Hats finally together because Zoro and Brooke have now joined the rest of them. I think their outfits are pretty funny. And then there was that scene where Zoro was like, oh, I'll go help you guys go find Vegapunk. He's the guy with the head cut off. And everybody's like, no. Sanji's like, no. And Chopper's like, no. And then Robin tries to be nice about it. I thought that was really funny. This was a pretty dope chapter. It had like a little bit of roller coaster of emotions because we get the comedy, then we get a little bit of sadness when we finally get a little bit of the reveal of Kuma's memory. So Bonnie decided she wants to jump into this bubble, and that's the last time we see Vegapunk. So we see baby Vegapunk like screaming like, no, stop, like don't do that. And then she goes into the bubble and she's like continuing, stop, but it's not Vegapunk this time. It's her dad as a kid getting beat by some shadowy figures. And now I'm really intrigued as to the direction that Kuma's backstory is gonna go. Definitely seems like it's gonna get pretty dark. There were some theories floating around that potentially that he's a Lunarian, and I definitely am leaning more towards that now. And it's possible that he might have been like one of the last of the generations or something along those lines. But I don't think he was there when they were ruling, when the Lunarians were still ruling. But I think that the Celestial Dragons kept some of the Lunarians that were still, that were there. Like they kept some of the remainders of them, and they would probably have them as slaves from even back then. Seems like it might be some other, whatever race Kuma is, or whatever those people were. It might have been family or friends or somebody that was calling for him. But it definitely seems like he's got a pretty dark backstory. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot more about his backstory, and also about Bonnie, about how, because obviously she just had this great view of him, but how, did he end up ruling the Sorbet Kingdom? And why is it that he got the name of being a tyrant? And possibly could have something to do with the news, which we're going to get to in a second. But before we get there, I did have that theory that it's possible that somebody could have like kidnapped Vegapunk or something along those lines, or they could be a traitor. And so we have the other Vegapunks looking for the main Stella body, and some of the cameras have been out of commission. Like the snails fell unconscious because of the fights and everything that's going on. So I'm loving this. It's building up a lot more mystery, and it's leaving us with questioning what's going to happen next. We don't know. We have no idea. No one was able to predict half of the stuff that's happened so far, and I'm pretty sure that Oda's going to throw in a lot more twists. We got a quick scene of Zoro and Luffy just kind of like reflecting when they seeing Lucci and Kaku's body. Like, remember Water 7? Like, that was like, we had to struggle and stuff, and now it's like, oh yeah, these guys. I wonder if Iceberg's okay. That's cool. And then we get into, like I said, the flashback gets pretty sad. And now Kuma, what is Kuma trying to do? So I'm assuming he's got to be going up to Marijois for a purpose, most likely to like fight against the Celestial Dragons, or maybe there's some other slaves that maybe he knows or something that he wants to free. It has to obviously have something to do with programming, because we know that Kuma's actual memories is still on Egghead. So this is just programming that Kuma is going off of right now. So I'm curious what orders he's following. Is it Vegapunk's, Sentomaru's? Because we see earlier in the chapter Sentomaru gave those orders to help save Vegapunk. So it could be potentially one of them. It's obviously not the revolutionaries, but we'll find out soon. And finally, the biggest reveals of the chapter came at the end, when we get Big News Morgan's back in the story to continue the propaganda train. So Big News Morgan's talks about how he's about to spin the story to make it seem like Luffy actually is the one who's kidnapping Vegapunk, even though Vegapunk is leaving voluntarily and wants to leave with Luffy. He's going to make it seem that way so he could get back in a little bit of good graces with the government. Because, he wants that cheddar. He needs that cash, and the government pays well. So he's definitely trying to keep up the appearances with the government. So he's going to keep spinning the stories to whoever he feels like is going to help benefit him. And I love that right after he says that, Vivi backs up Luffy, and right away he's like, Luffy would never do something like that. And it's like, oh snap, Vivi is here. Vivi is with Morgans the whole time. Wapol is here too. I don't know if anybody really cares, but Wapol is with Morgans. I'm guessing maybe for some type of reason, but I'm assuming that the two of them left with Morgans ever since way back in the Reverie. So at the end of the Reverie, it was in the middle of Wano, we got news that Vivi was abducted, and Morgan spent a whole story talking about how Sabo assassinated her father and kidnapped Vivi. And so we're like, no way, we knew that this was not true. Then we finally found out about Sabo being on Lulusia, but we didn't know what happened with Vivi. And so now we know where Vivi is. Lulusia got exploded, and we don't know what's going on with Sabo. So Vivi's okay. She's with Morgans. Morgans made up a story saying that she was kidnapped when literally she's with him the whole time. Yeah, the propaganda machine Morgans is really, really keeping the story entertaining. That's exactly what Morgans is doing, and everyone is just his puppets. He's just a bigger version of Doflamingo, just less powerful. Powerful in a different way. Next week, what are we gonna get next? I'm hoping next week we're gonna find out what's going on with Vegapunk, and hopefully a lot more of Kuma's backstory, and find out what he's doing in Marijois. Definitely still want to know what's happening with Kid, with Law, especially Blackbeard and Garp, and I'm assuming that we're probably not going to find out those things a little bit more towards the end of the arc. We may get an update to see Kizaru and Gorosei being a little bit closer. I shouldn't say Gorosei because it's only Saint J that's pulling up. So Kizaru and Saint J, we're going to probably see what's going on with them, how close they are to the island. And I'm assuming, St. J's role is just gonna be to be able to trump Vegapunk in regards to the ordering around the pacifistas and the Seraphim. So we may have dodged a bullet, but definitely plenty more bullets coming with St. J and Kizaru on the way. So let me know what you guys think is going to happen next week. Definitely feel free to leave your comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, plenty more content is on the way. And it's your boy Gabe the Champ. Peace.